Hello dear viewers and welcome to RTD's English News Edition, the top stories. The MINFAP held a meeting on the expansion of final year exams to the interior regions. In Egypt, 19 jihadis were killed in Sinai according to the army. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. Tropical cyclone Sakar, which started in the Yemeni island of Sotra, is likely to touch our country without much intensity. The cyclone is currently Category 1 with a maximum wind of 50 to 70 kilometers and occurs in the Gulf of Aden and is likely to affect Yemen and Somali coasts. For Djibouti, meteorologists have issued a second opinion to clarify the risk. Djibouti will benefit from the significant rainfall of Cyclone Sakar, while southern Yemen and northeastern Somalia will be watered by rainfall. A group of Djiboutian students visited the National Assembly where they had the opportunity to meet many parliamentarians. The young people took part in the chamber like the elected parliamentarians and visited the different committees' rooms. On his side, the president of the Assembly, Mohamed Ali Hamad, had exchanges with the young people who received explanations on the functioning of the institution. Yesterday, the Foreign Minister Mohamed Ali Yusuf received the Japanese Vice Foreign Minister Satoshi Suzuki on Wednesday in Djibouti. The Japanese Deputy Minister was accompanied by the Japanese officials, and the discussions between the two ministers focused on the relations of friendship and cooperation between the two countries and the two peoples, as well as ways and means to promote and develop them further. Discussions also focused on the fight against terrorism and the role of Japanese self-defense forces present in the Republic of Djibouti as part of the counter-piracy mission of the coast of Somalia. The staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs participated in the meeting. As for the Defense Minister in charge of the relations with the Parliament, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoum, received yesterday afternoon the working visit of the Japanese Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Satoshi Suzuki. The Deputy Minister was accompanied by the Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Djibouti, Mr. Koshio Nitani, and the military attaché Commander Takayuki Kubo. It was noted that this meeting took place in the presence of Djibouti side of Captain Elias Abdullahi Geli, head a cabinet of the Ministry of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, and Mr. Eltiri Ibrahim Farah of the civil cabinet of the Minister. The relation of friendship and cooperation between the two countries and the two peoples, as well as the ways and means of promoting them and developing them further, were mentioned during this meeting. Discussions also focused on the fight against terrorism and role of Japanese self-defense forces based in the Republic of Djibouti. The Minister of Finance, in collaboration with the World Bank and the Ministry of Housing, organized a meeting on the strategy set out for the National Zero Slum Project, and this bold program will integrate the reception of precarious housing and will make it possible to put an end to slums in the capital by improving the urban living conditions in a sustainable manner and to respond appropriately to the needs of decent housing for all Djiboutians. This program will regularize what is informal. Its implementation will be done concretely by the redevelopment of the old peripheral districts and sites unsuitable for housing will be vacated, and developed extension areas and new housing will be built in accordance with new performance requirements. The Zero Slum program reflects in particular a political will affirmed by the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, who made it one of the flagship programs of his government. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Yassir Moussedwale, the Minister Delegate in charge of Housing, Ms. Samina Abdi Aden, Delegate Minister in charge of Decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, and the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mona Osman Aden, Director of ONEA, Director of Apitifan, and Mayor of Djibouti City took part in this project. The Health Minister, Dr. Jama Al-Milki, received yesterday afternoon in his cabinet the Regional Director for the Middle East and Northern Africa for UNICEF, Mr. Gert Capellera. Discussions focused on ways and means to develop the partnership between UNICEF and the Department of Health. The issue of the child was raised, and the regional director congratulated the Minister of Health for promoting the protection of vulnerable children policy. The Secretary General of the Health Ministry, Salah Benoit Turab, and several officials of the Health Department attended this meeting. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, received his colleague, Mr. Hamadu Muhammad Aramis, Minister Dirigi for decentralization, in the meeting which was held in the presence of the executives of the two ministers, aimed to set the framework and plan the operational works of the organization of the examination for fundamental studies exams known as BEF in the interior regions. It must be said that in each region, the 9th grade students will be able to take the BEF exams in an examination center where corrections and deliberations will take place immediately. The decentralized juries will proclaim the results in these centers at the same time as in the capital. This is a part of the concerted efforts of the Menfab and the Ministry of Decentralization to deconcentrate and make available to the population in the regions all basic services, including education-related services. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Culture, Mumin Hassan Barre, proceeded this morning to the People's Palace at the opening of the meeting developed to the preliminary institution of the report of the missions of international experts on the National Archives project. The meeting was attended by senior executives from the public administration. In his speech for the occasion, the Minister emphasized the importance of National Archives in the institutional evolution of the country and the preservation of the collective memory of the Djibouti nation. He recalled that this project is part of the major projects launched by the President of the Republic, Ismail Mergele, to achieve the goals of integrated development of our country. According to the Minister, the meeting between international experts and administrative officials will raise awareness about the management of the archives of the public administration, he said. Thus, the archivist and document lists of the various ministerial departments will be sensitized for a better effectiveness of our documentary heritage. The Belbele Women's Empowerment and Action Center hosted a closing ceremony and an end-of-year ceremony this morning. Thus, the training sections in cooking and hairdressing, as well as the sector in profession of the audiovisual, new training intended to integrate the girls' training in these trades previously reserved for the men were concerned. The ceremony was chaired by Ms. Yasmin Salim, Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Family, surrounded by several heads of the department in the Kasaf Center, including the director, Ms. Roda Ahmed, as well as trainers of these different sectors. And throughout these trainings, the learners have been diligent, and it's precisely these efforts had been rewarded by certifying them. The Director of the Institute of Diplomatic Studies from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Mr. Musa Ali Migak, is on a mission to Quebec public administration to strengthen partnership in the perspectives of the regionalization of the Institute. This meeting allowed the Director of the Institute to discuss with his counterpart, Mr. Simon, on the requirements of an institution called to be a leader in the training of elites in the region. The two leaders agreed that INAPA could play its full role to support its setting up the 5-year strategic plan for FDI, and this mission falls within the framework of the diversification of partnership and in the consolidation of achievements in order to preserve the harmonized and sustainable development of the Djibouti Diplomatic Institute. The National Police carried out an operation this morning titled Affair in close collaboration with the customs. The purpose of this operation was to seize the illicit pharmaceutical products that are sold in the shops. For this purpose, the customs officers attended by the police have carried out checks in different shops located in the middle of the commercial center of the police. This operation, which will run for 3 days, will continue each month to check and verify those products that normally have to sell in the pharmacies of the city of Djibouti. In a statement on national television, the head of the customs office of the poor, Mr. Ahmed Nasser, and the head of Interpol in Djibouti, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, explained that the seized products will be subjected to the controls in laboratory to check if they are consumable for their products. Following the invitation of the local regional council, the residential coordinator of the United Nations Office, Mrs. Barbara Menzi, proceeded to a workshop to present the advocacy of the United Nations for assistance to the development plan of the region of Al-Istibiha for the period 2018-2020. Officials of the decentralized services of the state, active women of the civil society, leaders of the associates field and other personalities that participated in this workshop. The development plan drawn up by the Regional Council was discussed and learned, especially the priority projects in the search for the financial resources of the projects. On the occasion of the 2017-2018 school year, and the ceremony dedicated to the 5th year student Abdullah Ibrahim Abubakar, laureate in the candidate in the major school competition, Dawood Alwan Dawood School, organized on Monday, May 14th. An evening of social cultural animation exclusively presented by the students of his school, to which are invited all students and officials of the Tajara region local authorities, representative of the army forces and parents of students. The program included the recitation of the Holy Quran, followed by presentation of the national anthem, educational and traditional songs alternated by musical entertainment by a popular singer from the region. The various performances of the children and of a very enthusiastic public were particularly moving of the opening of the activities by an original staging of the national anthem, followed by poems and songs and traditional dances. The youth of the team that had participated in the War U13 have returned to the capital Tuesday night after participating in the World Champions under 13 years old pro men in France. Indeed, these young people from the Barra Football Club Republican Guard Training Center participated for the first time in this competition and enough failed to make a remarkable path during the tournament. The participation of the young people of the Djibouti team was very noticed during the competition. They were encouraged by some parents who made the trip, and at the end, this first participation, the Colonel Muhammad Jamadou Ali, commander of the Republican Guard, did not fail to congratulate the young people and the leaders for their services, but he also thanked the sponsors and the parents. As part of the sports activity, the Djibouti Football Federation organized the closing ceremony of the national championship at the Goulet Stadium for the 2nd and 3rd division. The fourth final between the two finalist team of the 2nd division, namely the team Hajjad in the City Hall of Djibouti against the CDC 7. The team of Young Jaga beat by a severe score of 7-1 the CDC 7 team. The two teams qualified for the day one. The team the young champion Jaga and the vice champion, the team of Hayablé, in the second final of the 3rd division opposed the team of STVK2 and Saudi Institute. The 3rd division victory and return to the Saudi Institute team on a score of 5-0, so the 3rd division winner team is qualified for the day 2. The two winning teams of both final ones received the cups and medals from the hands of the mayor of the city and diplomats of the Saudi Kingdom. The Korean Guard surveillance and control station elements intercepted in the night of 14 and 15 May Yemeni-type boats carrying 158 candidates for illegal immigration of origins Ethiopian, Somalian, and Eritrean. 158 immigrants divided into 70 Ethiopians and 38 Somalis, including 26 women, were embarked aboard the Coast Guard intervention and helped rescue these immigrants and save their lives from sinking in the open sea following engine failure. On the international news now, in Egypt, 19 jihadis were killed in Sinai according to the army. Hindi Ibrahim has more to tell us.
Egypt's army said on Tuesday it killed 19 proximity jihadis in the Sinai Peninsula during a large-scale terror operation. Egyptian forces launched Operation Sinai 2018 in February in the peninsula, where soldiers and security forces have been battling the Islamic State group. A military statement saying 19 suspected extremists were killed in gain battles with army and security forces in the central and north retirement in recent days. Around 200 jihadis and at least 33 soldiers have been killed since the operation was launched, according to the official figures. President Abdullah Fattah al-Sisi, on a visit to the Sinai last month, promised recently the operation will be finished as soon as possible.
Captain Buffon leaving Juventus but not retiring. More in this video.
Captain Jean-Luc Buffon will play his last match for the Italian champion on Saturday and has put off retirement to consider offers to play overseas. Buffon, who is widely regarded as one of the best goalkeepers of all time, was expected to announce his retirement at a news conference in Turin on Tuesday. Instead, while the 4-year-old Buffon says the story a match against Hellas Verona on Saturday will be his last for Juventus. He has received exciting offers which have changed his mind about hanging up his glove.
And that's all for this news. Thank you for joining us on RTD and have a good night.